Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Spring practice is finally here. Spring practice number 1 in the books today. So many fun storylines to get into, but you guys got to drink it in. You got to soak it in. We only get a month of spring football, and then it's that long, dreaded down period throughout summer. And yeah, we got recruiting. We can talk about that. It'll always be a good time, and I think the class of 25 is going to be pretty special for Tennessee, but spring practice is here. Again, practice number 1 in the books today. So many storylines to get into. Who's going to fill that left guard position, some injury reports that we need to talk about, some rumors, some news, some position changes, all that and more. We're going to talk about that coming out of practice number 1. But how about this Vol football media team? They put this video out early this morning. The sights, the sounds, you can almost smell the grass when you watch this video. This got me in the mood for spring practice. Let's take a watch.
Right, go ahead. We body through. You work down the field. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, Sam. Get out of the way. Keep working. Keep working.
The sights, the sounds, the smells, it's spring. Spring is in the air. Practice number 1 is in the books. Again, so many storylines to talk about going into this spring camp. And I think, first and foremost, I think the first thing you got to talk about is Nico Iamaleava, the 5-star quarterback, the alleged $8 million contract. The time is now. It is Nico's turn. It is Nico, you are up to bat. You're going to have an opportunity to go out and run this football team. And, I think we look back to last year, and it felt like we were almost on cruise control. Like, this is not what Josh Heupel's offense is supposed to look like. This offense was limited. It didn't do what it was supposed to do, and a lot of questions. Is it Joe Milton? Are they holding back because they don't trust Joe? No more excuses. This is Josh Heupel's quarterback. This is the guy that Josh Heupel chose. This is the guy that he went out and hand-selected, the number 1 player in the country. The time is now. It's time for Nico to go out and prove the naysayers that he's got what it takes, and he's going to take Tennessee to the next level. Also, what does the secondary look like? After 7 defensive backs entered the transfer portal, 4 more DBs are out of eligibility. It's a complete overhaul, a youth movement. You added some guys via the transfer portal. One of those in Jacoby Thomas we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. I was questioning last night, is he going to be that guy that comes in and starts at safety? Well, I think we may have got our answer in practice number 1. Also, who locks down that left guard position? You got to think Andrej Karic is at the front of the line, but we've got some news on him coming up in just a moment as well. Guys, we're going to talk about practice number 1, but as always, do me a favor and smash that thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if it's your first time on the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be any of that. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video throughout spring camp. We're going live every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, regular Talkin VAWLS live. Also, every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, it's going to be a fan call-in show. That's where you, the members of the channel, get to come on the show. Had a great show last night. If you missed it, go back, give it a watch. A lot of fun conversations with the fans, right? We're not media here. This is for the fans. So let's get into it. Let's talk about practice number 1. I guess first and foremost, let's start with the injuries, because there are a couple of guys that are not going to have contact all spring. One of those being obviously Bru McCoy, right? Still recovering, still rehabbing. I hope he's going to be 100%. I think it's going to be a big year for Bru McCoy, a money year, a contract year, right? Going out and proving it, getting to the NFL. I think it's going to be big for Bru to bounce back after the injury last season. Also, Peyton Lewis, another guy that's not going to have any contact the entire spring. He underwent surgery to clean up a pre-existing injury prior to spring camp, so not going to be involved. Elijah Herring, also another guy, had a postseason procedure, not going to have any contact at all. Now, this was kind of new. VolQuest put out this injury report. Extremely limited, Nathan Laycock. And I think this is a huge missed opportunity for him. Last night we were talking about who's going to lock down that position opposite of Bru McCoy. Is it going to be Chris Brazzell? Is it going to be Mike Matthews as a true freshman? Is it going to be Chaz Nimrod? Or is Nathan Laycock going to take that next step? I think he's going to be behind because he's going to miss spring practice, going to be limited. But VolQuest put out the report, said the young wide receivers looked the part. Braylon Staley in the slot, Mike Matthews on the outside. What do you guys think? Put it in the comment section. Do you think before the end of 2024 that Mike Matthews can lock down that starting position? And a big conversation we had last night about the wide receivers is, are they finally going to go to more than a three-man rotation? Somebody was talking about Heupel's interview with J.D. Pickell. J.D., I asked him about the rotation. He said he would like to actually play 6 instead of 3 this year. Are they deep enough? Do you actually think Josh Heupel changes that wide receiver rotation? Some more injuries. Javonte Spraggins, 247, said he hurt his knee last season against Georgia, has resumed running, was doing some short sprints with a group of players working on the side with the strength and conditioning staff. And then a big one, Andrej Karic. And the guy just cannot catch a break. He can't stay healthy. You can question what he did when he did play, but he cannot stay healthy. And again, same as Laycock. I think Andrej Karic needed this spring camp. According to VolQuest, looks like Shamrod Umarov, Vyson Lang, who also is going to work a little center, Masai Reddick, all going to get an opportunity, as well as freshman Max Anderson and William Satterwhite. Now, from 247 Sports, their practice report, they said working at left tackle was Lance Hurd, who everything I've seen, watching the highlights, reading the reports, Lance Hurd is that dude. He looks the part, big physical, SEC offensive lineman. Also working that left tackle position, freshman Gage Ginther and also freshman Jesse Perry. Now, here's where it gets interesting. With Karic out, working that left guard position, this is where the competition starts, is Dane Davis, also redshirt freshman Shamrod Umarov, and then freshman Max Anderson were all working that left guard position today. It's practice number 1, but it's something to keep an eye on, right? As we move throughout spring camp, do we see some continuity there of those 3 guys? Working at center, obviously you had Cooper Mace, you had Vyson Lang, and you also had William Satterwhite. Right guard, Jackson Lampley, and then also Aiden Bustle, which, again, Javonte Spraggins limited this spring. So you're seeing Lampley work that right guard. I was kind of curious to see if he would get an opportunity at that left guard position, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Right tackle, no surprise, John Campbell. What a teammate, right? What a player. Hey, bring Lance Hurd in. I'll move over to the right side. I'll be a team player. I remember Darnell Wright working that right side and being a top 10 draft pick. Also, redshirt sophomore Larry Johnson III. And then also a position change that we're going to get into, Trevor Duncan. A couple other guys that are going to be limited, Arian Carter, as well as Christian Charles. Now, 247 Sports put out a little blip that said that there are a couple of new faces on campus, 2 new faces. Again, this is 247 Sports. Tennessee had a pair of late early enrollees in Lipscomb Academy, linebacker Edwin Spillman and also Caleb Beasley. The 2 blue chip prospects have been taking an online course to allow them to graduate in time to enroll at Tennessee for second session spring classes. Spillman and Beasley both moved in over the weekend and were on the practice field going through drills on Monday morning, like they had joined the rest of the early enrollees who got to campus in January. So, again, these 2 young freshman linebackers, they're going to have an opportunity, right? With Arian Carter out, with Elijah Herring out, some of these young guys are going to get some run, and then that also includes, obviously, Jeremiah Thielander and Jalen Smith. Now, some position changes worth making note of. I mentioned Trevor Duncan. He moved to offensive tackle from the defensive line. No real surprise there. When he was coming out of high school, everybody talked about his body type, the length, the athleticism was perfect for the offensive line, even though Rodney Garner was recruiting him on that defensive line. I think the D-line's loaded, and you're going to benefit more by moving Trevor Duncan over to that offensive tackle position. Christian Harrison, another one worth noting, was working with the safeties. From 247 Sports, it says we've heard he's been repping the star position this offseason, so no surprise there for a guy who played corner his first 2 seasons in the program. Now, a rumor we're talking about, Emmanuel Okoye. I was going back and forth with G. White in the comment sections the other day. He said, Boogie, it's time for Emmanuel Okoye to be that dude at tight end. And I said, G. White, I love you, but I disagree. I think he's raw. I think he would be better off on the defensive line. I think he's a guy you could send out there on third down and say, go get the quarterback. And I just think he's young in football, right? He's got to continue to develop. A lot of buzz, a little bit of rumor, a little bit of talk about Emmanuel Okoye possibly shifting over to that defensive line. But today, practice number 1, he was working with the tight ends. Now, I watch the highlights the same as you guys. I go to VolQuest, Rocky Top Insider, 247 Sports, whoever puts out highlights. Even though there's not a lot of substance there, the media has limited access. You're seeing routes on air. You're seeing some drills. First practice, right, not really worried about it. There were a couple of drops by the wide receivers. Chris Brazell had a drop. But if you think back, You go back to last spring camp, we saw the same thing. We saw a lot of drops in practice, and we kept saying, oh, it's just spring. It's not a big deal. Just spring, not a big deal. It's just spring. It's not a big deal. And then once we got to fall and we saw the season play out, we had a problem with drops. So that's something for me to keep an eye on. If you continue to see drops in routes on air, is that going to be an ongoing theme? Is that going to be a problem for this football team? Also saw Nico put the ball on the ground, doing a little pressure drill, moving around in the pocket, stepping up, stepping to the side, moving around. He got the ball swatted out, put one on the ground. Again, spring practice. Even with the drop, I thought Chris Brazell looks the part, looks long, looks athletic, tall, lanky guy. I think he's a guy that's going to come in and make some plays conveniently. Guys, he's repping that number 11. Bolitnikoff Award winner, I don't know. We'll have to see what he does as we move into the fall, because remember, we said the same thing last year about Dante Thornton. Darrell Sims, new running back coach, absolutely loved him in the practice highlights. He brings the energy. He brings the fire. We got to see it in some of the interviews when he was hired. I think Josh Heupel got a good one. I like what he brings to the practice field. Defensive backs, I mentioned earlier, Jacoby Thomas, transfer from MTSU. Is he ready to take that next step? Is he ready to be an SEC defensive back? If you have a question of where Jacoby Thomas stands with the safeties, he was leading the group through drills most of the day. So I think he is coming in to be that guy, that dude. And, look for Jamad McCoy, another transfer, to come in and kind of lead the corners alongside Ricky Gibson. Jacoby Thomas, just a guy we were talking about last night. Is he ready? MTSU, there's a big difference between MTSU and the University of Tennessee. One final note, Boo Carter, everybody's favorite in-state prospect, got some one-on-one time working directly with Josh Heupel and Mike Eckler on kick return. So whether or not Boo Carter locks down that star position, I think we are going to see Boo Carter contribute to this football team in 2024 in the return game, whether that be kickoff returns, punt returns. I think he's electric with the ball in his hands, had an opportunity to go down and watch him play in the playoffs. The kid's special when he's got the football in his hands, so I could see him making a difference in the special teams game. What are you guys excited about? What are your favorite things coming out? I know it's early. It's practice number 1. We're going to cover these practices all throughout spring camp. We're going to do live streams Sunday, Wednesday, also Tuesday night, tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. NCAA football. We'll also talk all things spring practice. We'll have way more to get into, but jump into the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the merchandise. You guys know where. We got this brand new Knoxville, Tennessee shirt, checkerboard shirt, different styles, designs, and color schemes. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is in the description below. Also, make sure your memberships are up to date. If you guys came on the fan call-in show, make sure those memberships are renewed. Hit the join button down below. It's as little as $1. You support the channel, and we're grateful for that, but you also get an opportunity to come on those fan call-in shows. You also get a power tee beside your name, custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. But if not, that's fine. Just smash the thumbs up, because that's quick, free, and easy. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk about fall or spring practice number 1, because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.